Savitri, Book 11, The Book of Everlasting Day, Canto 1, The Eternal Day, The Soul's Choice, and the Supreme Consummation. He ended, and upon the falling sound, a power went forth that shook the founded spheres and loosed the stakes that hold the tents of form. Absolved from vision's grip and the folds of thought, wrapped from her sense like disappearing scenes in the stupendous theater of space, the heaven worlds vanished in spiritual light. A movement was abroad, a cry, a word, beginningless in its vast discovery, momentless in its unthinkable return. Quired in calm seas, she heard the eternal thought, rhythming itself abroad unutterably, in spaceless orbits and on timeless roads. In an ineffable world she lived fulfilled, an energy of the triune infinite. In a measureless reality she dwelt, a rapture and a being and a force, a linked and myriad-motioned plenitude, a virgin unity, a luminous spouse, housing a multitudinous embrace to marry all in God's immense delight, bearing the eternity of every spirit, bearing the burden of universal love, a wonderful mother of unnumbered souls. All things she knew, all things imagined or willed. Her ear was opened to ideal sound. Shape the convention bound no more her sight. 1,000 doors of oneness was her heart. A crypt and sanctuary of brooding light appeared, the last recess of things beyond. Then, in its rounds, the enormous fiat paused. Silence gave back to the unknowable all it had given. Still was her listening thought. The form of things had ceased within her soul. Invisible, that perfect Godhead now. Around her, some tremendous spirit lived, mysterious flame around a melting pearl, and in the phantom of abolished space, there was a voice unheard by ears that cried, "Choose, Spirit, thy supreme choice not given again. For now, from my highest being looks at thee, the nameless, formless peace where all things rest. In a happy, vast, sublime cessation, no, an immense extinction in eternity, a point that disappears in the infinite. Felicity of the extinguished flame, last sinking of a wave in a boundless sea, end of the trouble of thy wandering thoughts, close of the journeying of thy pilgrim soul. Accept, O music, weariness of thy notes, O stream, wide breaking of thy channel banks." The moments fell into eternity. but someone yearned within a bosom unknown, and silently the woman's heart replied, "Thy peace, O Lord, a boon within to keep, amid the roar and ruin of wild time, for the magnificent soul of man on earth. Thy calm, O Lord, that bears thy hands of joy, limitless, like ocean round a lonely isle, a second time the eternal cry arose. Wide open are the ineffable gates in front. My spirit leans down to break the knot of earth, amorous of oneness, without thought or sign, to cast down wall and fence, to strip heaven bare, see with the large eye of infinity, unweave the stars and into silence pass. In an immense and world-destroying pause, she heard a million creatures cry to her. Through the tremendous stillness of her thoughts, immeasurably the woman's nature spoke. Thy oneness, Lord, in many approaching hearts, my sweet infinity of thy numberless souls, mightily retreating like a sea in ebb, a third time swelled the great admonishing call. I spread abroad the refuge of my wings. Out of its incommunicable deeps, my power looks forth of mightiest splendor, stilled into its majesty of sleep, withdrawn above the dreadful whirlings of the world. A sob of things was answer to the voice, and passionately the woman's heart replied. Thy energy, Lord, to seize on woman and man, to take all things and creatures in their grief, and gather them into a mother's arms, solemn and distant, like a seraph's lyre. A last great time the warning sound was heard. I opened the wide eye of solitude to uncover the voiceless rapture of my bliss, where, in a pure and exquisite hush, it lies, motionless in its slumber of ecstasy, resting from the sweet madness of the dance, out of whose beat the throb of hearts was born. Breaking the silence with appeal and cry, a hymn of adoration tireless climbed, a music beat of winged uniting souls. Then all the woman yearningly replied, Thy embrace, which rends the living knot of pain, thy joy, O Lord, in which all creatures breathe, thy magic flowing waters of deep love, thy sweetness give to me for earth and men.